I'm Helen Partlow with Waypoint Immigration USA, and we just released a brand new free NIW Success Guide. It's a step-by-step roadmap showing you how the NIW works, the evidence USCIS looks for, and the mistakes to avoid. Download your copy today and start building your future in the U.S. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Helen Partlow, attorney at Waypoint Immigration. And today I'm going to be talking about entrepreneur cases for filing for the NIW application. I'm going to start with 10-15 minutes or so of just discussing this topic and then taking any sort of questions and answer session for the NIW category. Okay, so just to start off, this is just kind of general knowledge, anything that has to do with your particular case. I definitely would suggest getting a consultation with us. You just go to our website and it's waypointimmigration.org, and you'll see at the top a bunch of different categories. You find appointments. You can talk to us about pretty much anything. EB2 NIW, EB1As, visa stamping, layoffs, termination, marriage, career planning, and then like other kind of a category. So we would be happy to talk to you about your specific scenario. But anyway, going back to the main topic here of entrepreneurs and the NIW. So the NIW, I just wanted to clarify, it does not grant you any sort of status. It doesn't allow you to have any sort of work authorization. It's really a long-term planning tool for those that are looking to get a green card. So you could be in America and apply for this. You could be outside of America and apply for this. Either way. It does take at least 3 to 5 years to actually get this green card, and especially those if you're from China or India, the backlog is significantly longer than that. But the NIW is based upon how can you be impactful to America. So this is showing how you would be impactful beyond your company. It's bigger than just a job title. It's really mission oriented, and everything really does focus back to what your proposed endeavor would be. And your proposed endeavor is just a way of saying what your plan is in America that is future oriented. So what are your short-term goals, your long-term goals? What kind of methods or techniques, technologies would you implement, etc.? So, you don't need a company to sponsor you. You bring it on your own behalf. And for those that are specifically looking to start a business here, I talk to many people that are already in America on a status, and they're not allowed to do any meaningful, progression, but they are allowed in a lot of statuses to start setting it up, doing conceptual, like beginning stage items, like incorporating it, making some sort of business organization, formally, looking into like a business plan, maybe even start to see what kind of collaborators or potential customers you would have, figuring out your financial situation, etc. So I wanted to also reference specifically that in January of 2025, so, beginning of the year, there was a policy manual update, and they really did spell out more specifically how founders or startup owners can meet the NIW criteria. So, you have to show that your mission of your business would also serve a national goal, like innovation, something with infrastructure, critical technology. So the business itself has to also be impactful for America. It can't just be opening up a bakery or something like that. The workings of the company has to also be impactful and beneficial to America. You also have to show additional things like funding, government partnerships, any sort of recognition from others would be also helpful, especially like if you had customers or, like I said, like those collaborators lined up. So this business not only has to obviously function, it has to have those additional things as well. So looking to see what kind of evidence then would you need to be able to supply for this application. So definitely a business plan. A business plan is very helpful, showing, what the goals of the business are, what you're going to be doing with the business, your 5-year plan, what kind of growth do you anticipate, what kind of clientele do you suspect you will have? Of course, how will you be financially viable and, have growth and eventually turn a profit? And also discussing this business plan, you definitely want to make sure that it is also tailored towards this application where you're describing that impact and how it will be beneficial for, Americans beyond just your company. So that's really important. They look at what is the value of the company, not just the revenue and the dollar amount. So economic impact certainly is important, but it's not the only thing that they are looking for. They're looking for things beyond just that. So looking to see the potential to impact beyond just your local area, beyond just like a local job creation, looking for some sort of infrastructure improvement or advancing a national priority like AI or supply chain. So it needs to really kind of have that national importance angle to it as well. So when we're talking about like being well positioned to actually do your proposed endeavor, you need to show how you have that business, those business skills, that business education or experience. We want to know, not only do you have the technical skill, but do you have the business acumen to actually pull this thing off, right? And if not, then, who are you aligning yourself with? Do you have a business partner? Maybe that person is the business oriented person and you are the person that's more aligned with the technical aspects. But all those sorts of things, you need to show that you're capable of actually doing this business as well. So not just the technical aspects, but also need to show the business aspects as well. So other things to talk about, like I said, the business plan is really important. And you can also think of it as some sort of an impact plan, right? Like we're not just showing numbers and figures and things. We need to show how you will be impactful because that really is what aligns it with the national importance waiver. Let me see. I'm just checking my notes. What else did I want to say? Oh, yes. So letters of support, they're always important for every application, but you would maybe consider different types of letters of support if you are starting a business. So maybe from an investor or someone that you are collaborating with, that shows that there is a need for a business like yours to help solve, whatever the issue is that America is having. Really important to tie it to a national benefit. And, also showing any outside like recognition of the impact that you've already made. That's also helpful. So for this application, the proposed endeavor is definitely very forward looking, very future oriented. We're looking to show them how you will be impactful through this company and how this company will be impactful. But when you're talking about if you're well positioned, we are also looking backwards a bit. So we're looking to see what evidence do you have that you're capable of doing any of these things. So that is, like I said, more past oriented, talking about all of your accomplishments and things that align with this. So, one of the myths out there is that, you don't have to already have a profitable company or anything like that. This definitely could be in, the beginning stages, just kind of figuring things out. Maybe you're on a status that doesn't allow you to start a business yet. So that's why you're looking for the NIW to get the green card so you can start this business. And that's totally okay. That's very expected. I would say the vast majority of clients that I work with are in that conceptual stage and they are just starting out. They don't have the business yet. They have no having proof of concept can definitely be important. So that's not necessarily, something that is not needed, like showing that there is a need for this business. If you have any proof of past things that are related, showing that is really important. But, also talking about like that, then it's really about that national impact beyond your employer. And that's really prong 3, honestly. Like prong 1 is talking about substantial merit, national importance, showing that you are aligned with different goals America has. America wants to advance AI, or they want to help make a stronger infrastructure, or, make domesticated supply chains and things like that. So that's really more substantial merit, national importance. Why is it important what you are doing, and why does America ultimately care? Does America align with also having this goal on a national kind of level? Then prong 2, well positioned. Are you capable of running this business? On the technical side and on the business side. Some people I talk to, they have multiple master's degree. One is maybe master's in computer science, and one is maybe an MBA or something like that. They have a combination of those degrees to kind of really bring it all together. Other people are only on the technical side, and they need to align themselves with someone that is business oriented. But yeah, well-positioned is very much showing that you have already been impactful in your projects, that you're capable of continuing that impact in this new kind of a company. And it is all about creating that document trail. So, if what you are doing is proprietary and you don't have a lot of documents, what can you do that would create a public record of your impact? So that's something else to kind of keep in mind. It's all of these things are, really important to kind of understand, and to also see, where your strengths and your weaknesses lie, and what can you do to help make your case stronger. So I think I will leave it at that and look at any sort of Q&A. I'd like to hear about what is on everybody's mind. So let me see. All right, I'm seeing multiple questions from the same person. So if anyone else pops up, I will, definitely make sure that everyone could be heard. But let's start here. Should one consider downgrading from EB2 NIW I-140 to EB3 if EB3 I-140 processing wait times are lesser now? On the USCIS website is showing 17.5 months for EB2 I-140. So, I think that this one is definitely, it sounds complicated, and I need to have more information. So I would definitely suggest just making an appointment on our website, waypointimmigration.org, to kind of discuss this specific thing. Let me see if I can put this on. Yeah, so our website here, I just added to the bottom of the screen. You go to waypointimmigration.org, click appointments, and then you can make an appointment that way. All right, USCIS I-140 processing times are degrading. Can you give some idea on how service center times are functioning and have changed? How to know? Well, so you don't get to pick what center your application goes to. It's based upon your work site location, your state that you are in, and therefore, if you are not in the United States, you don't get to pick where it gets sent. So then the service center, they take these applications, they scan them, and then they reallocate it to, a completely different place, possibly, to get it actually adjudicated and to be looked at. And as far as processing times, regular processing is, I would say, 10, 12 plus months. I've been hearing from many people that are waiting well over a year. Anything over 2 years, I would say, is definitely kind of like beyond at that point. And I haven't heard from anyone more recently that's had it quite that long. But, if you do premium processing, it's 45 business days, and you can upgrade that later on. You don't have to always send it in with premium processing. So if it is taking longer and you do need it faster than it is taking, you can consider paying the fee and getting it adjudicated within 45 business days of the receipt of the I-907. How to know which center has my I-140 petition. So, I don't believe it says it on the receipt notice exactly where it is. And you can look up like your case status I don't believe it tells you on that either. It just tells you whether or not it's been received or if it's being adjudicated. And then it will tell you if it was denied or got an RFE, but it does always follow up with like a receipt in the mail. Like if you do get an RFE triggered, they send that to you. And if you have an attorney, it will be probably sent to the attorney's office too. It depends on how they fill out the forms. Is it faster to get a green card through EB1C path while on L1 visa as compared to EB1A or any other path? Well, the EB1 category is the same. So the visa bulletin, the wait time for the EB1 is the same for EB1A or C or anything like that. But if you are on an L1, you might have an EB1C pathway available to you. And overall, the EB1 category is faster than the NIW category, the EB2. So that's maybe something to think about. If you were to file an NIW I-140 while your employer filing is pending for a year, what would you suggest to do with the existing NIW filing before or after you file a new one? So you can file on your own. So if your employer files your NIW for you, they are the petitioner. If you file it on your own, you are the petitioner. And you can both have an employer filing and you can also be bringing one on your own behalf at the same exact time. So, you might consider wanting to bring one on your own. I find I talk to a lot of people that have employer filings and they end up getting RFEs and then they kind of shift the burden to, the applicant to kind of deal with it, and they don't really frame things in a way that the applicant would know. They don't really share a lot of that stuff, or they also don't maybe frame it in the same kind of a way that I would necessarily when I'm looking at it and representing just you and not your employer. The rejection rates are extremely high with no signs of improvement in the next few years. Further to this, processing times are increasing. So what is the motivation for NIW? Well, that, depends on everyone's individual plan. If you are on H-1B and, PERM has failed, you have no other options, you might consider doing the NIW. There's different benefits with that. If you're doing it before and it's pending before you start that 6th year, you can get that 1 year extension time. And if you do get it approved, you can renew your H-1B until you were at the point where you would be able to adjust your status and get a green card through the NIW. So it definitely still has, benefits to it for sure. And yes, you are right. Obviously RFE rates are higher and denials are higher, but we are still seeing approvals. So it's not like it's completely dead in the water. Just have to kind of understand recent trends, and they are really pushing for objective evidence. So I am definitely, advising that to everybody. What kind of paper trail, what kind of evidence do you have of your past impact, of your future impact on all of these things are really, important to consider. Can reference letters from early stage startup CEOs stating volunteering contribution to raise funds and get projects be issued to meet EB1A awards criteria? Startup is not employer and has no earnings yet. No, this doesn't really sound like it would be viable for an EB1A awards criteria, but again, this is an NIW discussion, so I wanted to try to stay on topic. If the employer doesn't withdraw the I-140 petition after laying off, can it be carried over during the grace period when moving to the next employer or self-employment startup? So I guess in this scenario, you're saying your employer, see, when you say I-140, I'm not sure if you meant PERM or if you're meaning NIW. I'm going to assume you're meaning an NIW application. This is not clear, honestly. It's not clear if you would be able to adjust your status on NIW that your prior employer got approved for you. There's other things to consider. Are you still doing the proposed endeavor that they framed in your application? Yeah, so it's not fully clear if the petitioner is the employer, whether or not you can still adjust in this way. All right. NIW filed by employers pending and wish to file another I-140 in parallel to premium processing, can you help leverage and modify the already submitted petition docs? Well, we would create a whole new application for you. You know, we wouldn't just be editing what the employer sent in, but I'm certainly, you know, we would be using a lot of the same evidence, I'm sure, but we might be doing the arguments differently. If yes to the previous query, then what will be the tentative charges for the same? What will be the tentative charges for the same? Well, for us, for an NIW application, that includes everything. So when I say includes everything, we write 3 to 4 letters, we do the forms, it includes the regular processing fees. That is $9,605. You know, if you already have reference letters and things that we don't need to rewrite, then we could consider, you know, reducing the price, but it would have to be on a case-by-case scenario. All right, so I don't see any more questions, and you know, I appreciate the conversation, Ricky. I know that you kind of come in every week and you you know, share what's on your mind, which is great. But if you need like more personal information, you know, I'm just kind of speaking generically. You know, I haven't discussed your specific scenario or anyone else's, so definitely would recommend having a consultation. So if anyone has any other questions, you know, especially on the topic, entrepreneurs, you know, please feel free to message me or leave a comment and we can go from there. But until next week, I hope everyone has a great week ahead.